Today I've fired up the Webber just to do a little bit of smoking to the lead up to Christmas. Got a few sides of salmon we're smoking and a few duck breasts. Both been curing overnight in a simple 1-to-1 salt sugar cure. And yeah, just firing up the Webber, a little bit of charcoal and a few wood chips to get a bit of smoke going. Alright, so as you can see here, we've been about 15 minutes. Just starting to get a little bit of color change on the edges. You can see a little bit of the fat coming to the surface. I reckon another 15 and we'll be pretty good here. Still getting a decent amount of smoke, which is good. You really don't want to rush this. So I'm going to add just a little more wood and pop the lid back on, and another 15 we'll check it. But you can see with that extra little bit of kindling I put on, got some really good smoke happening. Temperature wise, I can still rest my hand on top of it with this plastic glove. It is hot, but it's not burning my hand, so it's not too hot. We're getting a good light hot smoke, not just cooking the salmon with heat. So I might even close that a little bit, slow it down, and we'll check back in 10 minutes or so. One thing I really like to do when I'm smoking, and just a few little tricks along the way that can help you really smoke really well with simple Webbers or dome barbecues like this. You want to make sure your fire is on the far side, left or right, doesn't matter. And then when you go to cover it, you want to make sure the vent is on the opposite side. What that's going to do is it's going to allow the smoke to pass over the meat. It's going to draw from the left side up over the meat and out on the right side. Just a few little tricks that have helped me along the way achieve some nice smoked fish and meats. Yes? Trying to film something. Alright, you can see we're about 35-40 minutes here. I think the center is just starting to cook, but there's quite a bit of steam in there. So I'm going to take these off and just gently cover them with a little bit of foil and let them cool down. And I reckon it'll retain that moisture and they'll just finish cooking through and be a beautiful smoked salmon. All right, here's our duck that we've been curing for 12 hours as well. The exact same curing mix, 1-to-1 salt and sugar. I'm using a really coarse salt here and a fine sugar, but really anything works. White sugar, brown sugar, sea salts. Yeah, I'm using a really coarse sea salt. It's quite moist. Tends to be a little more gentle on the meat and not quite as harsh of a cure. So I've just put the second lot of salmon onto smoke. That'll take about 30-45 minutes. Next, we're going to get the duck breast ready. So I've got some beautiful, really large duck breasts from a local supplier, about 400 or 500 grams each. Again, just a simple 1-to-1 cure for about 12 hours overnight. Now with these, you can chuck them straight on the smoker like I did with the salmon. I'm going to introduce some spices and some more flavors to these. I've got some smoked paprika. I'm going to give it a really good dusting with that. Top and bottom. Then we're just going to go with cracked pepper. Now I did dry the duck breast, but because they still have a little bit of moisture, this curing's going to, spices, going to stick really well. It's going to give it a nice color, a nice little sweetness and smokiness from the paprika, as well as from the smoker. So that's now ready to go on the smoker. I'll finish these other few off now and get them ready to go. So the second lot of salmon has come off. It looks delicious. Ready to put the duck on. Just added a little bit more charcoal, just to give it a little bit more fuel. It was starting to get a bit low. I'm just going to drop these bits of kindling on top of that. Let those catch. Then we'll extinguish that with the lid and the duck, and we're ready to smoke again. All right, our duck's had about 15 minutes now. Let's take a look. Oh, it's looking excellent. Now you could totally eat that right now, not a problem. I'm going to let the smoke keep going. I want that skin to kind of leather over a little bit, give it a little bit of chew. That's all the fat on the top, so we want that to form a little bit more of a crust. I'll just rotate them around a bit. I think we've still got enough fuel and wood there to create some nice smoke, so we're going to let this keep going nice and slow, and we'll give it another 15 and check it out. All right, we're about 45 minutes to an hour here. Still a nice, good amount of heat, but not too much. Starting to see those edges change color a bit. It's looking pretty good. Still a bit of moisture coming out of those. This isn't going to cook like the salmon did. It's already quite cured, so it's going to be more of like a ham consistency or texture. So the smoke, we're really just imparting flavor into this. I'm also going to let these dry out completely in the fridge overnight before I vacuum seal them and have them ready to go for Christmas. We want them to be nice and dry, a good crust. So I'm going to leave these in here for another 15. Keep doing their thing, and we'll check them after an hour and a half.